Hello, everyone. I am Sebastian Barahona. I am an alumni from CSUSB, and my major is English Literature. There's kind of a little backstory. So basically, I was in community college, and I kept switching majors. I thought I wanted to be a cop. I thought I wanted to be a political scientist, a mathematician, a couple of just going through everything, I guess. And my dad one time just sat me down and said, "All right, pick something and stick to it. What are you good at? Like, what's something that you like doing?" And I always liked my English classes, and I liked reading. So I'm like, "Hey, I guess that." And so it kind of took me, I just committed to doing the English literature thing. And I like doing it. I didn't mind it. I didn't really figure out what I wanted to pursue until maybe I think so. I started at CSUSB at 2022 after getting my AA, and kind of like right then, 2023, I think fall or spring, I took a linguistics class, and I really fell in love with it because there was a girl in our class. She was from Germany, and she knew the English language really well. She knew like so many things, like it would just spin minds across all the other students. They couldn't keep up, and I'm like, I want to be like that because even I have trouble like with just like punctuation and just a lot of English rules in general with our grammar. So I said I'm gonna, I want to teach this, and then I heard about TESOL, and now I'm pursuing my master's in that. But it was a long road. It wasn't really what inspired me to just be an English literature major was I was able to read a lot. And so that's kind of, I know I was going to gain a lot of knowledge if I did that. The thing about reading, I feel like a lot of people sometimes lack the motivation to read. Reading is too hard. It's, it's time consuming. But I never understood until I was like a sophomore in the community college. I spent quite a long time there. It was more than 4 years. But when I was there, I read a lot, and I realized that you can live multiple lives. I guess that's the best way to explain it. You can live multiple lives by reading these books of, some of them are fiction, some of them are nonfiction. But you could, it changes your perspective on things, because maybe let's say you read of Mice and Men, maybe you don't have a background with how to deal with mentally challenged people, and you read of Mice and Men, and it talks about during the Dust Bowl, two farmers are looking for work, and one of them is mentally challenged, so it kind of brings you into that world of how it was like to maybe take care of someone like that. Or another book that comes to mind is To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, school does a good job of explaining it, I guess, maybe not as well as it could, but in To Kill a Mockingbird, you become a little a white girl back in those days and what it was like first to deal with racism against people, and from the view of this little girl, you could see her perspective and how she was brought up compared to the other kids, and it's kind of just it makes you more aware of how people react to certain things, and you become more graceful to others who have it hard sometimes. You're able to maybe not, I think it's you can empathize. I think empathy is when you can't feel exactly what they're going through, but you have, or is that sympathy? It's one of those, but yeah, you can understand a little bit more of what people are going through. Ooh, okay, I love being asked this question. Well, not even similar to this answer. So there's a book called Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And before I get into that really fast, I was raised a Christian. I read the Bible. I read the whole Bible through. So, but I wasn't, and I went to private school through like 7th grade, and then 8th grade in high school I went to public school. But man, when I read this book, so Herman Hesse in the book Siddhartha, it is about Buddhism and reaching nirvana, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's gonna change my views. I don't know. I was like a little, but I read the book. So simple. It's like this. It's like not even that long. But you read this book, it is so simple, but such a beautiful story that when I read it, I'm like, it made me interested in other religions, maybe see where they're coming from and all that stuff. I'm not saying that I converted, but it changed my view of being scared of, well, what's out there? If I'm saying, like if I say I agree with this, I want to be 100% that I agree with this, not just because, oh, well, I was told to or anything. So that really challenged my thinking and beliefs. Not because I haven't converted or anything, I'm still a Christian, but just it helped me branch out from just reading maybe books that wouldn't go against my ideals and beliefs. So yeah, I've really enjoyed maybe reading more books that I guess go against the regular conservative type of view of thinking and all that stuff. So Herman Hesse, Siddhartha, I highly recommend it. Such an easy read, but it's such a beautiful story. I think it's a fine line. I would say I think it's important. I think literary criticism, I say, can enhance the reading experience because maybe you're going in with a certain type of like, oh, it's going to be about this, or I'm not interested, and then you read it and you're like, wow, it is completely not even close to what that literary criticism text had mentioned or said. Maybe you see it in a completely different way. It can complicate it if that's how you're trying to see it through that lens, through that literary criticism text lens. But if I feel sometimes it does point out stuff that you miss in the book, and then when you read it, you're like, what? That person brought up a new perspective I didn't even see. So I think it enhances it more than complicates it, because when you read something, you're looking at it from one view, maybe from how you were raised and grown up and brought up, but another person who is completely different than you reads it and sees a completely different view. And I really like that, because the more people that view it, the more people that are able to read it and maybe get the different points of views out, that's how I think as a society we'll move forward better, because you're able to see from another person's point of view. You don't have to agree with it, but you can do the courtesy of respecting it and understanding where they're coming from. Wonderful. So I had a couple different internships. An internship at a church, a paid internship there. That was one internship. I had one internship. I had multiple jobs. I'll just go through them, just because I'm not ashamed of them. In college you have to go through a lot. It's it's nothing to be ashamed of. I worked at Hobby Lobby. I worked at McDonald's, Subway. I worked at a summer camp. What is it called? I worked at one of the schools, one of the districts, as a PE assistant to like the PE coach or whatever. So, multiple things to keep me busy and get money. But I think, and also the volunteer work. If you can volunteer, like maybe it's the littlest thing. Like I helped out at my church with the youth group. That employers like that. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, but to them it's huge, because it shows that you're going out and you're trying to, you're not just sitting around doing nothing. Sitting around doing nothing is, even if it's like I helped out one day at something that my mom's job or whatever, that would look really good on your resume, because it shows again that you're putting forth the effort. So any type of volunteer work experience, like just put it on the resume. It would definitely benefit you. And me, I work now at my school because it works just better for my hours. It's with the disabled, and it's such a beautiful job, because again, if you don't have a lot of experience working with people that maybe are on this have it a little bit harder than you do. You won't it helps you appreciate everyone that's involved, taking care of them, but also you see from their point of view what school is like, and you get a different point of view. And and I love working there. I've worked there. I'm working there through my master's. So if you could get a job at your school, they would probably work with your hours, and it would be way better than just another job that you might get. Next for Sebastian. That's funny. Let me see. So next for Sebastian is I'm gonna get my master's. I plan on teaching at least at community college level. Maybe go back and get my doctorate if I can. Maybe teach overseas for a year or two. But that's kind of where I see myself. So, I don't see myself teaching in the high schools and the middle school level. But if I get that opportunity and all that stuff, at least overseas, it's a little easier. But I hear you have to get that single subject credential, so I don't know if I really want to do more school. But I'm looking forward to doing that. Life's good. I got my health, got God, got family, friends, girlfriend, all that. So just moving forward one day at a time. Just being faithful with a little bit. Just do your best and commit the rest, and everything will work out. Some things are sometimes hard for a little bit, but then there's daylight at the end. So as long as you just keep moving forward little by little, you'll make a lot of progress.